Well, hello everyone. We're back. I want to tell y'all something. This is going to stay between you and me and Beyonce's internet. So I posted up a TikTok one time. It got a lot of views, which led to a lot of people wanting to see my toes. So I got bored. Pinky promise, I'm being so serious right now. I sold feet pics and made a decent amount of money, and I'm going to be donating that money to a food bank. Who would have thought that feet pics could lead to feeding families? I think that's fucking sick. Anyways, I don't know if anyone wants to see my toes, let me know. Anyways, on the opposite end of selling something for, not good, let's talk about today's video. Hi everyone, it's Isabella here and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I don't know if you've ever been in this position because I have definitely been. Have you ever gone back and been like, dang, I remember I followed this creator years ago. How are they doing? What are they doing? What's going on with their life? Because maybe sometimes you just unfollow people because I don't really think about unfollow that deeply. I'm just like, oh, I don't really resonate with this content anymore. I don't know. Years ago, I was really, really into makeup, and now I'm really, really into stupid memes. It happens to the best of us. Now, I remember reflecting on a creator by the name of Milena Ciciotti, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Again, please, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way. This is just what I remember, okay? And I was like, dang, haven't seen her in a long time. Mind you, I remember following her years and years ago. So I took a gander on social media, and I went, ooh, what the happened? I, unfortunately, was finding out that this creator, who I actually used to love years ago, was involved in a scandal. And I would like to talk about that with you today. A religious creator who was selling ways to be a better mother and involving the topic of trad wife content. So before we hop into today's video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell button down below so you'll be notified of every single video I post. By the way, you guys, again, this is so random, but I have to put this out there. I am literally everywhere. I have a podcast, which is coming out with season 3, the I've Got You podcast, which I'm so proud of. I have my second channel, which again, a lot more personal content. And then my Instagram and TikTok, which I'm working really, really hard on to make good content. If you guys want more of me in different demographics, then please go check that out. And now real quickly, I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, who has definitely been really helpful with my editing game and my audio needs. One thing about me is I am using earbuds, headphones constantly. I'm editing, I'm in the gym. I like to listen to rap music while I'm cleaning up the apartment, right? All of us listen to music frequently, I would say. And that's why I would love to talk about Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds with you guys. So these Essential Open Earbuds are really fun because they essentially, sorry, see what I did there? They go around your ear, which is so fun. And I love that because they're very, very comfortable. You forget that you're actually wearing them. They sit outside of your ear canal so that way you can actually stay in tune with other things that are going on around you. They deliver incredibly clear quality audio without actually blocking out any major sound throughout your everyday. So if you're someone who wants to listen to music while at work, if you want to be able to go grocery shopping with this, this is a really good one where if you want to listen to things going on outside while listening to your music, it's a very good balance of both. They have 8 hours of playtime and a 36-hour battery. You're going to be able to use these for a very long time. I toss these on consistently, again, when I'm cleaning my apartment, when I'm getting a bunch of stuff done. Additionally, they have an amazing price point, which is also something that I love to get behind because balancing affordability and quality audio is something that is very, very important to me. They also have really amazing touch controls so that way you can simply make a few touches and are able to adjust your music or your sound in any way that you want. And additionally, they have tens of thousands of amazing reviews that are not, again, just me talking. There are a bunch of other people who have purchased these earbuds and absolutely love them. Black Friday is coming up, and if you guys are in the market for some new earbuds, then this is a great option for you. You guys can go click the link in the description box below or go to buyraycon.com/Isabellamichellelanter open to get 30% off of your purchase today. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring today's video and for partnering with me for some great earbuds. And now let's get into today's video. Let's give a little bit of background of who Milena actually is and what she has to offer to her audience. Because again, I think it's very important to highlight how they represent themselves before so that way we get a good picture of what we're talking about in today's video. So her Instagram bio says, finding beauty in the mundane, God-fearing wife to Jordan. She's a YouTuber and a podcaster as well that also is the, it looks like, creator of Bible Stories for Kids app. Now, again, I want to make a very huge disclaimer just because I never want people who are of any religion to think that I'm just going to hate on you just because you believe in a religion. I am a former Christian. I'm currently an atheist. I am going to always be supportive of people wanting to believe in whatever they want to believe in. The couple things I will disagree with though are when we are weaponizing belief systems to harm other people. That is never going to be okay to me. And when we are weaponizing religion to take advantage of other groups, selling scams, being predatory, etc., it's not something I'm ever going to be okay with. Just like how I would be incredibly disagreeing on anyone trying to weaponize a sob story to take take advantage of somebody, I'm never going to be cool with it when it comes to religion. There's always a line. There are good people and bad people, and I don't mess with the bad people. Cool? Super duper. Let's get into it. So she is very about, from what I can see, a traditional wife perspective, which if you guys have not seen on social media, or, if you have, the traditional wife or the trad wife content is all about women pretty much trying to get rid of their jobs, actually working a 9-to-5, being out in the workforce in corporate America, and staying at home with the children. A lot of it kind of is stemmed from religion and also just traditional values that dated back years and years ago when women essentially had no choice but to do that. And so now we're seeing a resurgence of content like this, for example, where people are trying to focus on teaching other women to stay at home, be with the children, and that's it. Now, I actually am going to be making a deep dive on this specifically as someone who grew up with a mother who actually was a stay-at-home mom, who has witnessed the good and the bad of those things. I think it would be a really good insight for me to give. Just to kind of summarize right now, traditional things, it's not inherently wrong if you want to be a stay-at-home parent, period. It is wrong, though, when we are pushing a lot of toxic mentalities, financial abuse, etc. There's a lot of dark sides that people are oblivious to when it comes to this perspective and how dangerous it can be. So keep that in mind. Now, I am going to show you guys some of her videos and content, and we are going to comment on them, and then we're going to dive into the actual course that she started selling and my other beliefs around what she is doing and pushing to her audience. Let's actually read what this says. It says, I have 5 children in 6 years. This is what my home sounds like as I make breakfast. Wow, I promise I'm not illiterate. My brain goes too fast. This is what my home sounds like as I make breakfast. Little feet running, book pages flipping, a baby cooing, a toddler humming a hymn, children solving quarrels on their own. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, but it didn't happen by accident. It took years of dismantling the chaos I once lived in, not by bribing, not by becoming numb, but by learning to lead my home with peace and not pressure, by trading survival mode for spirit-led rhythms, by creating systems that serve my family instead of running me, and by understanding what true biblical order looks like, not perfection, but peace, by instructing with love and not fear, and by finding joy in the mundane, purpose in the ordinary, and worship in the work. Which, from what I'm seeing, that's essentially just meaning that she has found a God-led way of leading her home and being a mother. Then it says, this peace came when I let the Lord reorder me first, my habits, my heart, and my home. Comment, order to build a household that reflects heaven, not havoc. Enrollment is open for 3 days only. So this is something that is a prerequisite to her course that she's trying to sell. Now, her actual caption says, motherhood doesn't have to feel like drowning. Chaos to Order is my 8-week biblical homemaking and discipleship system that walks you step by step out of survival mode and into structure, peace, and authority. Enrollment is open for 3 days only. Today through Sunday, we begin this Monday, October 20th, 8 weeks, 19 videos teaching, 40 peaceful practice workbook, lifetime access. Bring your Bible, pen, and highlighter. This isn't motivational content, it's strategy for your household. And then it says, chaos will not raise our children. It's time to take it back and have our homes reflect heaven, not havoc. So I'm going to be so honest with you. And again, I am not someone who has children at all, nor 6 kids for that matter. But I don't really fathom how a household with 6 kids is ever just going to be peaceful. And maybe that's just me, but that just sounds like that's bonkers. Now, this next one pissed me the off. Really pissed me off. Someone who is not a mother but has friends who are mothers and mommies. I hate predatory shit around moms because being a mother is such a vulnerable time. Giving birth is such a vulnerable time. And oh my God, my child-free ass gets mad for y'all. I swear by 2 things for a smoother and faster birth. What? It says it's not dates or evening primrose oil. It's the Webster technique and this herbal tincture. Comment fast birth for a direct link. I hate this predatory shit because this reminds me of when people talk about, oh, here's my product to prevent stretch marks. A lot of this shit is simply genetic. So when I see someone who is terrified of birth wanting to do and make things as best as they can, so the idea that you could somehow make your birth better and faster by a tincture really pisses me off. And if it was that easy, modern day medicine would have gotten a hold of this. It says my last 2 births and the way I prepared for them were completely different from how I approached my first 2. Surrender over control, relaxation over force, enjoyment over anxiousness. Birth in the anticipation of a baby's arrival is unlike any other season. It's incredibly exciting. Your whole life could change at any moment. but being gentle with your body and allowing it to do what it's created to do is so important. I remember from a 30-hour labor to just under 4 hours with my most recent births. Can I say for sure that it was because of these two things? No. There are always many factors at play, but I swear by the Webster technique, which helps babies get into the optimal position, and by this tincture, which tones and prepares the uterus for the workout it's about to perform. Together, they made my labor so much smoother, and comment fast birth for a direct link. So to me, this reminds me of when I see like certain weight loss gummies, and it's like, well, as long as you eat right and work out, this gummy's gonna work. No shit. You're doing the two core things that are needed to actually work out. I am all for finding ways to help yourself out, but I feel like this is just very predatory if we don't have any evidence to prove what this is. And all the comments are just filled with fast birth, so that way they are able to get the direct link to the said product. Here's another video that once again irked me, and I have so many things I could say. What I'd tell you as a Christian wife if I wasn't afraid to hurt your feelings. 1, your husband wants to lead, but you're in the way. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and this is a big hot take, there is a very manipulative aspect of this traditional wife stuff. They act as if the husband should be the only person saying and doing and leading. That is crazy. I do not think that's okay. I don't think any grown adult should be made to be under another grown adult. And I do think it's quite manipulative to think that it's normal to say that, well, you're in the way. How is somebody in the way of that? By having opinions, by wanting to decide what happens in your home, with your kids, with your life. I don't think that's you being in the way. I think it's you being a grown adult with thoughts and feelings, as you should. Equality in a marriage should be normal, not one leading over the other. You're not a toddler. You know what I mean? And like, I'm sorry, but that's one thing I will never be able to get behind, is that kind of mentality absolutely leads to abusive relationships. Now the caption says, how can he lead if you are trying to lead? What's motivating him if every decision he makes is heavily criticized and ridiculed? Or maybe he is actually leading, it just doesn't look like how you might want it to, and that's okay. Sometimes he will make foolish mistakes in his leadership. We ladies make foolish mistakes too. Have faith in Christ first, because our husbands will answer to him for how they lead us. Aren't you glad to not hold that weight on your shoulders? The Lord gave him that title, not you. Not because you're inferior, but because you are designed to be led, to have a head, and what a better head than the man you're willing to choose to marry. Single ladies, that's why it's super important to be steadfast in prayers over your husband, because he'll become your head. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. His body is himself and his savior. And as church is subject to Christ, so let wives also be subject in everything to their husbands. And then it's listing off chapter of the Bible. It says, I have a free 7-week marriage victory challenge that thousands of women have completed, and it's drastically changed their marriage. Comment marriage victory to start. This is predatory for a multitude of reasons. Allowing and pushing for women to lean back and just let somebody fuck your life up is horrible. That I'm going to tell you, and I'm speaking only, I'm only sharing my experience here because like I've been there, not 100% in marriage, but you get it. This is the shit I fell down years ago when I was heavily religious, which led me to stay in an abusive relationship longer than what I should have. Again, I am all for healthy religious belief systems, but pushing for women to submit to stupidity is not okay. And my thing is, if you are nagging at your husband, and I don't consider it nagging, but saying, hey, you're doing something wrong, you're not helping, you're not doing this, that's not you getting in the way. You're calling out something that's wrong. Why is your voice not as important as his? And then additionally, trying to host a course about it, what the are we doing? Thankfully, the comments were actually calling it out. One says, as someone who loved your content previously, this is truly sad. Another one says, ladies, you have a voice. You are equal with your husband. You are a team. You are allowed to live whatever life you wish for yourself. This content is so harmful and has become very unrealistic the last few years. You are human too and deserve autonomy and a voice. Do not bend to this ridiculous advice. And then it says, how are you homeschooling your kids and don't even know the difference between your and your? Oh. Okay, here's the thing. I f up words too. Don't you worry. But that's slightly funny. Okay, I did not know that she was homeschooling her kids. Now, another commenter, which I think is very important to point out, says it's actually quite clear you are the leader of your household. You are the financial breadwinner. You are the one in charge of your children's education and spiritual development. You are the one responsible for the household chores, and you post about how your husband is away often. To me, that sounds very much like you are the leader of your household. You should take pride in that. God has assigned the responsibility to you, and it's not something to be ashamed of. Which actually I'd love to point out, because providing an income is not just leadership. Being a good partner could also be a leadership. But I'm sorry, you were never, respectfully, you're never going to catch me saying a man's a leader of me if I'm running all this shit. That's for damn sure. It should be normalized to make decisions together. allowing another human being, regardless of who they are to you, to dictate what happens to you is incredibly scary because that can lead to financial difficulties, abuse, and so much more. This next one, again, to me is very slight brainwashing, and it says, he is always gone. I'm so grateful for a husband who provides. The second part says, why does he always get to leave? I never get a break. Then what a gift it is to have time with our children. And then lastly, this is so much work for me. And then how amazing that God has given me so many blessings. Now, I think two things can exist at the same time where we can look at the positive side of certain situations. And however, a lot of these similar situations should not be just a generalized norm because so many women who are in these positions feel incredibly trapped, feel very stuck, feel like they can't get out, deserve time outside of their children, deserve time outside of their home. And you are never going to convince me that it is fair for a man to go and make money, for example, and that's all he does. Meanwhile, the woman cooks, cleans, has the mental load of absolutely everything, doesn't really get much free time to herself, and then feels like the only way for her to find joy is to brainwash herself to think that it was just what she's supposed to do. That is not a normal way to live, and it's okay to acknowledge that it's not a normal way to live. Additionally, I want to point the fact that this is a content creator who makes money off of social media. She is able to live this way not just by her husband's income, but from what I'm able to see, if she gets sponsorships, is able to have brand deals, makes money on YouTube, she's also able to make a living because of this. So it's technically not a trad wife mom because most traditional wives, if they fall into this role, don't actually make any money at all and just fall into staying at home. She does technically have freedom. She does have access to income. She does provide and is a provider of the household. So this is where I have a problem with some of these content creators who want to lean hardcore into this because they're feeding you a lifestyle they aren't even living by at all. They're pushing you to fully and let everything go, every financial security onto a random man you met in a bar, and that's supposed to be safe for you. Meanwhile, she always has a way to get out due to she has access to money. It's gonna take a lot of money for her to have a home like that, a stove like that, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I have a very big problem when somebody preys on women who are in significantly more vulnerable positions than they are, I can only assume, and then want to sell them courses and ways to live a better life when in reality, she technically isn't exactly living by her own words. And that is where we are going to be getting into this problematic course. Now, the problem that arises the most for me is these courses, and it's just even worse when I see people paying for shit like this. I'm not going to like what somebody has to say online like this regardless because I find it quite predatory and excluding a lot of the major alarm bells that we see when it comes to stuff like this, but at least it's free. So this is the Chaos to Order course. Oh boy, I'm gonna get mad about this. Okay, although chaos is common, it is not your calling. Building a home that reflects heaven, not havoc, and bring order to my household now. Your home was never meant to run you. You were appointed by God to have authority over it. If every day feels like you're drowning in dishes, tantrums, and endless to-dos, this is not holy motherhood, that's chaos masquerading as normal. Which, here's the thing. When I find women who are stuck in this position, when I'm hearing these stories, it's because the other partner is not doing shit to help. So don't get me wrong, even with two partners present, that is a lot of work. But if you are so exhausted where you're looking towards buying a course for it, we need to do some reflecting because if he's not doing enough to be an active present parent, that's an issue. Peace is not passive, order is not accidental. It's built with intention, authority, and kingdom vision. And when you build it God's way, it doesn't just change your week, it changes your lineage. This isn't another course, this is a sacred investment into your motherhood, your marriage, and the generation that will rise from your home. If you're ready to stop managing crisis and start cultivating kingdom order, this is your call to rise. So it is an 8-week discipleship and homemaking system that walks you step by step from overwhelm to structure to peace. This is not a collection of tips or coffee mug cliches. It is a total retraining of how you think, operate, and steward your home. This is not another Pinterest tour chart, a motivational reel, a vague devotional about joy in the chaos, or a self-help course. This is a biblical blueprint for ruling your household with wisdom, structure, and grace. A proven system to restore rhythm in your days and obedience in your children. A spiritual and practical awakening for mothers who refuse to settle. And a multi-generational strategy for layering foundations that will long outlive you. Who this course is for: women ready to steward their homes with authority, not exhaustion. Mothers willing to repent of chaos, not justify it. Wives who long to strengthen their marriage through honor and unity. Single or engaged women preparing in this wisdom. or train before you're placed. Any woman who sees disorder as spiritual warfare and intends to fight back. Who this course is not for. Women who want comfort without conviction. Those who blame circumstances instead of taking responsibility. Anyone seeking quick hacks but avoiding repentance and discipline. And women who believe chaos is just how motherhood is. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. The second part is what's inside the 8-week joy. 8 weeks, 19 videos, 40 lessons, peaceful practice, digital work. Week 1 is doctrine of being a daughter. Rediscover your identity as a beloved daughter of God, the foundation of all order, peace, purpose in your home. Then week 2, heart and home inventory. Identify the chaos. Expose the roots of disorder by honestly assessing where confusion, fatigue, or misplaced priorities have taken ground. Week 3 is the try-on aspect of womanhood. Embrace the divine design of woman as image bearer, helper, and life giver, mirroring the harmony of Godhead. Week 4, being a crown. Learn to honor and strengthen your husband as your covering. Walking in feminine dignity, wisdom, and influence. Week 5, the mantle of mothering. Step into motherhood as holy work, training hearts, shaping character, and nurturing souls unto the Lord. Week 6, holy household habits, cultivating rhythms of peace, productivity, and worship that transforms daily routines into sacred stewardship. Week 7, renewing your promised land mindset, which is mothering to the 3rd generation, establishing your family as a unit versus a set of individuals. And week 8, multiplying orderly disciples. Build a home that feels like heaven's outpost, rooted in rest, rich in worship, radiant with kingdom hospitality. Hi guys, Ed and Bella here. I completely forgot to mention the magical dollar amount of how much this course costs. Take a guess. Any takers? Any guesses? $200. 200 American Girl doll hairs. $200 bills? $200 bills in this economy? What? When groceries are expensive? That's a bill right there. And you mean to tell me you found this from the Bible? So in that case, people should just read from the Bible and learn. Or again, bright idea, maybe make it accessible and free for everyone if you want to spread the word of the Lord so much. You can watch me talk for free. So I don't know why she's charging a couple $100s for this. What? And she got a lot of bad feedback on this. If you're exhausted, you don't really have help, and you're taking care of that many kids, I cannot fathom expecting any human being to just power through that with a smile on their face. That sounds exhausting. Hence why I don't have any kids right now. Now, here's the reason why I am not a fan of a course like this, and especially why I'm incredibly uncomfortable with it when it is involved with trad wife content. Like I said previously, I do not believe this creator is technically fully living in this because she does have a way out. So if this goes to shit, something goes wrong, she's got a way free. So that's why I am incredibly uncomfortable with the trad wife creators, because some of them, if they have big platforms, are making more money than their husbands are. Like, they are rich as hell if they're doing it right and if things are going well for them. They're incredibly successful on their own, so therefore they'll always have an escape route. Now, there can be a potential twist to that if the husband has control over the YouTube money or whatever that is, etc. But there is a way to get away, as she is also providing a stable amount of income. So for example, somebody like this can hire help, can do extra things, can get a sitter, has access to more resources, more food, more convenience, get delivery to groceries, is essentially able to remove a lot of the difficulties of everyday life that an actual traditional stay-at-home woman would experience. For example, if I want to adjust my life by ordering my groceries on delivery and paying that delivery fee and tipping as well, I can also hire someone to come clean my home. I can make it to where I have certain aspects that not many mothers would have to deal with simply because I have money, whereas a lot of people are exhausted. So I am very bothered by the fact that we're trying to sell a course to somebody to say, this is how I did it, when in reality, there is not, in my opinion, from what I know about this person, not as many difficulties as the average everyday stay-at-home mom would have to experience. Furthermore, I am not comfortable with the idea of labeling this typical, like, again, if you have five kids, you stay at home, you cook, you clean, and you homeschool, and then you're expecting everything to be chill and fine and normal and fun. What? Okay, that is hard. So trying to say, wow, it's crazy and insane, and this is the way to solve it, it's like we're putting a band-aid on the real problem. I think we need to be encouraging more parents to talk to therapists, not random influencers online. And I'm going to tell you right now, the last thing I would ever encourage someone to do is to just trust a course from a random influencer on the internet. If you are like exhausted, miserable, and hating everything, you shouldn't feel ashamed about that. Honestly, you may not have a lot of help, which therefore talking to a therapist would be a good idea. But leaning into some other random person on the internet who spews some bullshit is not a good idea. And as someone who used to and had fallen into some toxic belief systems systems and thinking that my suffering was normal because of certain stuff like this, I promise you it's not. Like, I'm not kidding. I absolutely stayed longer in relationships because I thought I was supposed to suffer and deal with it, and it was a hardship and a season for me, and I was supposed to deal and be okay, and I was supposed to pray over my boyfriend so he would be nice to me finally and be helpful and be kind. But in reality, I was providing for the home, I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was doing everything to support a home. He was quite literally being a gold digger, mooching off of everything. So please know that that is not evil or wrong for me to get out of that and realize that it was a toxic cycle. It was truly what saved my mental health and saved me. And that is not wrong to do the same thing, because we have a wide variety of people in situations like this who could be mothers with shitty ass husbands and thinking that praying it is going to make it go away. We have people who struggle with children with like so many wide variety of difficulties, which also makes their life more hard. Women who genuinely have no income, no support, no family, so therefore it's harder. We are putting a very vulnerable demographic of women into the spotlight that is saying, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I have a solution to your problem. And I don't find that okay. I don't find that funny. And I think the last thing we should ever be encouraging single mothers, stay-at-home moms, anyone in that department, is to depend on a course for help. If you are suffering that badly, please speak to a therapist. Please, I am begging you, talk to somebody. Like, again, I have no idea if anyone who is in that position would ever see a video like this, but like, I need you to know it is not normal. Like, it is not normal to sit there and allow somebody to run every aspect of your life like that. It is not normal to not have protections over yourself. It is not normal to say, well, I buy a course because I'm miserable and that's it. It is predatory. And I'm very repulsed by the fact that we're not directing people to seek help and support and buying a course from this person. It is very unsettling to me, and it only makes me very alarmed because this is a broader topic that I think we need to discuss about how the trad wife concept can be very, very predatory, about how some of the trad wife concepts are pushing more blind trust instead of setting yourself up so that way if you want to live that way, you are protected at the same time. It's really, really messy, and it's leaning onto just blind faith that could also hurt you at the same time. And having blind trust in a random influencer, like really think about this, random influencer making a course saying, hey, I figured it out and I'm going to sell it to you. If she was so motivated to help all mothers through God, why wouldn't she do it for free? I'm just saying, like, let's really, really think about this here. If you were so motivated, you would host a free online workshop to guide people, but instead we're charging for it, which I don't mind someone making a living. If it was so transformative and so insane, would Jesus hold his word behind a paywall? Yes or no? From what I remember in the books, it was not the case at all. So I'm just saying this sounds incredibly contradictory and very against a lot of things in the Bible and just weird. Moral of the story, what I really want to get down to the goods is just buying courses from people. Please be very cautious about that in general. But with this topic specifically, there are Christian courses. There are people who will push the solution and helping you feel better about a situation. And I feel like it's just putting a band-aid over the actual problem when in reality you have a deep issue that you need to speak to somebody about, or you need actual guidance. You need a therapist. You need to connect to other moms so you don't feel so crazy. You need a support system. You need a supportive partner. You need more than what a course is going to give you. And I am not a fan of that. An additional point that I wanted to make in regard to this kind of content, specifically also this course, is the heavy hand that toxic positivity has when it comes to influencing people to purchase this kind of product. And if we do a skim through of Milena's content, in my opinion, just from what I'm seeing, it is heavily, deeply rooted in toxic positivity. Just like, it's fine. Is it bad? Do you hate your life? Does it suck? Well, guess what? Just pray about it and you'll be fine. And I don't want to disregard people's belief in prayer, but I also don't want to disregard the fact that somebody should be able to have the power to protect themselves and utilize their free will to also help themselves out. I do not think it should be ever considered wrong to realize something is wrong and realize that you deserve better. And again, I know I'm an atheist. I get like, the messenger is probably not the best if you are religious. And I get that. But I also don't believe that if you believe in God, I do not believe that he would want you to suffer and be miserable and hate your life. And if something is bad and it is weighing on you, that's not you being toxic or wrong or falling to sin or letting the devil win. You are acknowledging and feeling something there's a reason for it. Something's going on, and it is okay to acknowledge that something sucks. You're not a bad person or a bad Christian for saying that something is hurting you and not feeling right. And again, like, I really hope that this is coming across like the best way that I can, because I'm trying to be as respectful and understanding as I can about certain belief systems, but I never want anyone of any belief system to suffer. And I especially, because I have been there, do not want somebody falling for toxic positivity, and that could exist in all belief systems and all careers, etc. And that can lead you down a very dark path where you will just put a smile on your face and ignore the darkness that you're actually living in. And I don't want you to live in darkness and feel like misery, all for the hopes of being a good person. You are also a good person for acknowledging that something is wrong. And I don't need to see all it's in the course to know that that should not be the solution to your problems, nor should it be the recommendation for that, because motherhood is very different for everyone. And motherhood also can be a very vulnerable time and difficult time for so many people, especially when they're in a position where they are in a vulnerable spot where they don't really have a lot of resources and they're only depending on a partner to support them. And if they are especially isolated, they don't have a lot of friends, they don't have a support system, like that can go very, very wrong. And the last thing I want somebody to do is to be brainwashed to believe that this is normal, or that them being horrendously miserable and hating their life is just a part of how things are supposed to go. You shouldn't hate your life. You shouldn't be miserable all the time. And I'm only speaking from me being there and witnessing other people do the same thing as well. I was really going down that route, and like, I'm not proud of it. And it was because I was vulnerable and I was naive and I was desperate for a solution, and I depended on reading and listening to crazy things that were absolutely not true. And I'm telling you right now, I'm a happier person because I don't fall for courses and things like this. And I am encouraging you to be incredibly careful. And the fundamental Christian influencers can have great content that are actually realistic and helpful, but this kind of stuff is not something I would recommend anyone to. And it really breaks my heart, because I don't think people should be taken advantage of in their own religious or belief system. So that is it for today's video. I know that was a big old mouthful. What do you guys think? Comment down below if you guys have any other examples of this, recommendations, pages that do stuff like this, because I would love to talk about it a little bit more. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And again, do not forget to go to the link in the description below or pin comment and check out Raycon today. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.